but on the contrary, when you are trying to crack a joke, sometimes it is also done with a very sad face, and then public burst into a laughter. So that you will get to know once you have got the habit of anchoring. So that control you'll also have. See, there are so many anchors, like if you have to say comedians also, they are basically anchors only, though their job is to make us laugh. So what do? Sometimes they're very serious and they just crack a joke and they just move on, and afterwards, what is the after effect? We start laughing because they're very serious. All right. Now, next topic, today's topic that we have to talk on is public speaking. So it's always thought that everybody thinks that public speaking is all about fluency. No, fluency is one part of public speaking, but apart from that there are so many things that you need to keep in your mind. No, that I told you how to move around on the stage is also one part. Okay, okay. Now, if Narendra Modi is going to give a speech, he doesn't move around on a stage. He's standing behind the mic. But for other people, for other, public speakers, they sometimes try to use the whole capture the whole stage. So it depends what type of audience you are, what is the scenario. Now, in a public, in a rally, political rally, netas will not do all these things. Just excuse me, my throat is bad. So netas will not do, all those leaders will not do that type of thing, like moving around the stage. But in a college, if there is a gathering, if there is a function, that can be exercised, moving around in the stage. That shows your body language. So Narendra Modi, if he is a leader, he shows his body language by his confidence. And still, I would like you to, see the body languages of all the leaders, Mamata Banerjee, Narendra Modi, anybody who speak, they have a particular body language to support what they say. And that makes them confidence. And slowly and slowly, they build it up. So there are certain things, like there's certain phrases that are always, used by certain people. Like, for example, when Modi started in 2014, he always used to say Mitro. So that became a trademark. So that's a very small thing, but then uh, because he found it to be more, appeasing to the people, he thought, I will call them my friends. So that's how, you will develop your own phrases, which you will use it. Public speaking is also, excuse me. So, what I told you, it's not about the fluency, it's about the matter. And when you are speaking in public, you have to show your good, confident body language. And, and it's not difficult to learn this public speaking art. It's an art, and you can learn this art. Nobody will say, Ki, I don't know how to speak in front of public. So everybody, they have mastered this art over the years. They have given their hard work on this. So last time also I told you, make a recording. Now, last time when I told you record an audio. So slowly and slowly, I'll also tell you, now record a video when you are talking, and keep the phone on in the corner and put it on a video mode, recording mode, and then try to speak 15 minutes in front of the camera. So think that there's an audience, and then you talk about that. Now, I'll tell you one very, interesting incident of Gyani Jail Singh. So Gyani Jail Singh used to really, he used to tell us that he was the president of India, if you are aware. So he said, I was really scared to speak in public. So when he was, rising high in ranks, and slowly he had to address few people, and then slowly few more, and then bigger crowds. So he was getting restless. So he did not, shy away from telling in an interview that for a public speaking, he took some classes, and he also shared what are the things that you have to understand and you have to imbibe in your personality to be a public speaker. So he told, and I still remember, and I heard this sentence around 30 years back. He said, if you are standing in front of the public and if you think they are people who are going to criticize you, you are always going to, get nervous. But when you just get on the stage, just think that they are all cauliflowers, gobi ke phool hai sab. So, and then you have to say ki this is my khet and I'm now talking to all the vegetables. So this was the, trick how he played with his mind, being the president of our country. How he, in the beginning he also had the fear of speaking in public. Everybody may deny that they never had, but everybody goes through the same thing. So how you condition your mind, whether you want to be just like Gary Jelsing, who said all the audiences in the stage, they are cauliflower, gobi ke phool hai, or else whatever you want to feel like. And then you start your, lecture, whatever you have to say. So it's all in mind. First thing, keep that it is all in your mind. You can train your mind. You can even train your mind. Do you know that you can even train your mind to behave totally differently in case I put an ice cube in your hand and we condition your mind that it is a fireball, something which is burning. So your mind gets so conditioned that after you remove that ice ball from your palm, from your hand, you will see it has burned. So that means to that extent you can train your mind. So why not train our minds ki yes, we can do it, right? So first step will be to build your vocabulary. See, I'm not saying ki uh, it's not important. Public speaking ke liye you will have to do some exercises, and this is the right time for you to learn, because you can start your public speaking experiences henceforth, and by the time you need it, you will be totally master in it. You will be able to do it without any, by the time you will learn what are the tricks and what are the areas you need to work upon. Okay, so first will be, you have to build your vocabulary no matter what. Even at this stage I keep on adding, I have a notebook, to be very frank. I'm telling you my secret. Even at this age I have a notebook, and when I read newspaper, when I read articles, when I read, or when I even go through some YouTube channels or anything that I come across, and I find some good idioms, some good phrases, some good words, I add, keep on adding to the list. Still now. So you have just begun your journey, right? You are hardly 16, 17, or 18 years at the most. Okay. So you have a long way to go. By the time you are around 40 years old, you will have a good vocabulary. And nowadays, success is not that you can say you will achieve at the age of 45 or 50. But now it's everybody, you can become successful even in 1 or 2 years, because you have got all the matters available to you in front of you on the internet. So it's just a matter of time, and it's just a matter of hard work that you put in, and success will be at your feet. Earlier, people used to really work hard and gather information. It used to take them years and years for them to go through and slaughter, basically. Now everything is given on platter, so you don't have to wait for long to be successful. So build your vocabulary, start building it now only. And for that you will read, keep on reading. And for building vocabulary, after that you also have to learn the synonyms. Why we learn the synonyms? See, in case you are speaking in front of people and you are stuck, so at least when you have a word and you at least know five synonyms of that word, you will choose one of them. At least one of them will come in your mind, and you will keep going on without fumbling, without pausing for a long time and thinking about which word to use. Okay, now Building your vocabulary can be done by reading as much as you can, and then synonyms you will also uh, that you effort you will have to put. Okay, there are certain books where you will you can get the synonyms, and it's very important. Don't underrate this synonym wala point, because it is really important. And then when you are reading, next point is, whenever you are reading anything, there will there is bound to happen that there are certain words whose meaning you are not aware of, but continue, try to understand their meaning with reference to the context in which they are used, and continue your reading. And after you are finished with the article or the newspaper, go to a good dictionary and then add to this notebook. Okay? So now, once you are in a habit of reading every day, so these words will also keep on repeating. The words that you read and noted down on day one, that word will repeat after 1 day or 2 day, maybe after 1 week. Then you will know, I read this word, I know the meaning of this word. All right. So it is a slow and ongoing process, and the slow and ongoing process I am continuing till date. And you will also have to continue. It is not going to be like after my first year BA MMC effective communication is done, so ma'am has told me now I don't have to do it. No, that is not going to be the case. You will have to continue this for life, and continue learning till you are uh, you know till you breathe your last. I don't want that to say, but then it is meant that way. Keep continuing your building your vocabulary and learning. Basically, not only learn vocabulary, learn anything. Okay. Now, the second point that I want to, in public speaking, that is important, is control your body language. Now, body language, why is it important? Control your body language. So, whatever you are speaking, whatever you are talking about, body language plays a crucial, important role. Role. Okay, because if you don't speak with emotions and expressions and your hands moving here and there, it seems like you are a robot. And robots do not communicate well. Only they give instructions. So if and they cannot hold your attention for a long time. So when you are a public speaker, uh, if you behave like a robot and just keep on talking without emotion like a wooden face, then you're not going to create an impact. People will not really get interested in what you are talking. They may lose attention, and they may start talking among themselves, and they may start leaving the place. And that is also even more interesting, that when you are talking, people have started leaving the place. So what you will do, control your body language. What you will do here, keep moving on the stage, as I said. So usme kya hoga, the audiences, they will keep their eyes moving all the time. Wherever you are going, their eyes will be moving in that direction. So they are engaged. Basically, they are engaged physically by they're moving their eyes on you. Okay. And then when you are making gestures with the help of hands, with the help of arms and head, even your facial expressions, you know so they communicate even more deeply than the words that you are speaking. Okay. No, they need body language and non-verbal tools to supplement the talk that you are going to give. Okay. And non-verbal, as I have already taught you non-verbal, so you should not be like, what is non-verbal? So non-verbal communication tools have immense potential to convey full meaning to the thing. Now, when I am talking to you, I'm not talking to you in a robotic language. If I say build your vocabulary, control your body language, it becomes so. Now I'm putting I'm stressing each and every word. And if you can see my camera, whether I don't know whether I switched on the camera, so you will see that my hands are also moving, my eyes are also moving, and sometimes my facial expressions are also changing when I'm talking. So all these are important for effective communication, and effective communication is very important as a public speaker. Am I making sense to all of you? And here, these are the important tools for anything. Like whatever you are doing, you will be, you should have all this forever. But now, when as a public speaker, what are you going to talk? Then you have to, be thorough in your subject also. Like whatever the topic. Third point is whatever the topic that you are choosing, that you are going to talk about. So study it thoroughly. Don't be in a state where you uh, don't make it a fiasco type of situation where you land up in a place and you don't know what to talk about. Be prepared for that subject, whatever you are talking on. So while preparing, those ideas will get in your mind, and you already have a good vocabulary. So if your ideas are clear, your concept is clear, the the vocabulary, treasure that you have in your mind, that will come to your rescue, that will help you to go through that subject. But don't leave it all together. For example, if I say tomorrow you have to speak in front of the class on a topic of um, girl education. So for 1 or 2 minutes, you will be able to talk on girl education without preparing. But in case I say you have to talk it for around 30 minutes, so how are you going to do unless you have some data with you, some uh, policies of the government that helps in the girl education? So all these data will come handy, because you have to talk for 30 minutes. You cannot be talking for 30 minutes without preparing for any subject. So you will be never, sometimes some people are very intelligent, and since they have got lot of experience, they can do anything impromptu. Like they can be called to the stage and they can go on and on talking on certain topics, and even if the topic is not very uh, prepared, they can talk at length because they have got the experience, and they keep themselves abreast with the new and latest articles of the newspapers, and with the news also. So that is how they are able to do. So आपको भी वो करना है. You have to, in case you are not prepared, you will prepare beforehand. आप क्या करोगे? Make the bullet points. So when you have the bullet points, at least bullet point के ऊपर 2 लाइन तो आप सोच ही सकते हो बोलने के लिए, then becomes easy for you. So you will make bullet points, and at times, what happens, um, um, you know you can also use, you may use memory aids. मैंने आपको पहले भी बताया क्यू कार्ड्स होते हैं, ठीक है? So it's not, nobody looks down to you when you use cue cards or some memory aids or like bullet points or anything. That's okay. Okay. Some people in, when I was in the college, my lecturers used to put the things on their palm. They used to write the bullet points on their palm. So they used to look at their hand, okay, this topic is done. Then they used to start writing on the board on the third topic. Then they used to look at their palm and then say, okay, this is done, now we'll do. So now it is even more open. So you can take very small rectangular piece of paper, write the points on that, so that you don't miss out on. And when you make cue cards, you have to number them also. कहीं इधर का उधर हो जाएगा तो then also it becomes a, I'll also take a lecture on how to make cue cards because it's very important. See, if you have a, you have to speak on for a 15 minutes, you make at least 5 or 10 cue cards. You make them कि this is going to be number 1, then we have to talk on this. Suppose गलती से cue card mix up हो गए and number 10 point comes after number 2, so you will land up in a very embarrassing situation. So you will make the cue cards, you will, you know, place them chronologically very nicely. Ki, this is number one, number two, and I have to present, this is the flow of my meeting, of my presentation. So that is also, you will take care. Okay. Now, plan properly. What does it mean? Plan properly, as the name suggests only, ki before your event you should be ready. Not, don't do anything, at the last moment, because then it adds to the anxiety. And if you are anxious for your speech, you may miss out on something, you may fumble, you may become nervous. So we don't want anything like that. So you have to do a lot of homework. Always remember that. Up, don't think that big leaders and big people who are good orators, they don't do, they do it whenever they get time, whether they are in flight, whether they are in bathroom, whatever place, they keep on doing, they keep on planning. Nothing comes very easily in life, my dear children, so you will also have to plan. Nobody is born orator. Okay, वो होगा, वन इन अ मिलियन हो सकता है, बट वी ऑल आर वेरी very ordinary people. We are very ordinary, so what we'll have to do, we will have to work on our skills rather than thinking ki we'll get it just like that. Okay. Next is your diction. Plan हो गया. We did talk about plan properly. ठीक है. You will do, say, sometime, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, यू विल ऑल्सो, ये जो जोक्स वगैरह बोलते हैं ना पब्लिक स्पीकर, आपको लगता है ये इम्प्रॉम्प्टी होता है? नो, एवरीथिंग इज प्री प्लान्ड. हाँ, sometime while giving the speech, something, may erupt in somebody, some public speaker's mind, and they can add to it. But most of the things, they are pre-planned. Everything, to be very frank, everything is pre-planned. But slowly and slowly you become so confident that even you can add your new jokes also, your new, you can cite new things also. So that way your lecture may become big, but that doesn't matter, because you are presenting it well, and it is in context with whatever you are saying. And always remember that whenever you are speaking, always speak in context. If you go here and there and digress the topic, that also is a very, bad impression among the audience. Because see, as a lecturer, when I come across something, I do digress, but then I know that this is also important for you to understand. So that is why I want that, agar ye samne aa gayi ye cheez, so let me explain this also. So as a teacher, as a lecturer, if something happens, and as a public leader also, there is no harm in doing, in digressing. But at the same time, you should bring yourself back to the same topic. वो आपके अंदर वो कला भी आनी चाहिए कि you will not go haywire and lose the track totally. ठीक है. Writing your draft, it's very important, and at least 2 revisions. 1 and 2 revisions are very important, so that, you know कल को आपको बोलना पड़ेगा, तो आपकी जो अगर वर्ड्स इधर उधर भी हो जाएंगे, सिंस यू हैव अ गुड वोकैबुलरी, यू नो द सिनोनिम्स, तो वर्ड्स इधर उधर होए, डोंट वरी. ठीक है. दैट डजंट मेक इट, बट देन योर डिक्शन. ठीक है. How you are speaking, keep your tone friendly, how you are going to talk, where you have to raise your voice, where you have to be subtle. So all these things will play a very important role in public speaking. Okay. Now, if I'm missing out on anything, let me just see. Then, ha. Sometime, what happens whenever people are giving some presentation, they give a pamphlets or something to the people, so that they also know what is going to be the schedule of the program. So they also know that this person will be speaking for 10 minutes and on what that person will be speaking, so they are prepared for what are you going to talk on. Okay. Now, ठीक है. this is done. So basically, I want you to practice on everything. You have to practice on each and every. And when you open a speech, your opening should be memorable one. Okay. And similarly, now आपको अगर पब्लिक स्पीकिंग आ गया, job interview is very 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 small thing in case you are already a good orator. You will know how to, manipulate your talk, how to, go about it. So for a job interview, when you go, you are basically selling yourself. You are selling yourself at the salary that you will negotiate. You want 50,000 for that job. So is that person going to give you? Agar aap bhaji lene bhi jate ho, you go outside, you want to take out the best tomato, you want to take out the uh, best cauliflower, not the rotten one. Definitely, when you are going, you are also selling your skills. I'm not saying is selling yourself means selling yourself literally. Basically, you are selling your skills. So, what is the job interviewer going to see in you? Your way of speaking is one important part. So that is job interview में, अगर वही मैंने बोला ना, if you are a good public speaker, job interview का one part तो it is almost done. That means you know how to speak about yourself. You will be able to tell your weaknesses. You will know, if he asks you a question like where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years from now, so you know how to twist your words so that you get the best response from the interviewee. So you should look good and confident, isn't it? So if you are shabby, if you are don't if you're not wearing your best t-shirt, I'm telling you, this is one of the secret. So when you wear certain dress or t-shirt, sometimes you definitely feel better, and you automatically start feeling that you are confident in this dress when you wear this one. So keep that dress aside for all the important tasks, and it is a true thing. Even I have observed, I may have 12 saris, I may have 12 trousers and jackets and other things, but once I wear something, and I suddenly start feeling confident in that. So mark those dresses where in which you feel confident. So whichever important interview, whichever important public presentation, doesn't matter if you repeat that dress, doesn't matter. Even if you, or else you buy something when, again, nowadays you go to the malls and all, they give you trials, fitting rooms and trials. So you have to see where you look best and where you feel most confident. Buy that outfit for public speaking. Okay, because this adds to the total. So once you will become very confident in public speaking, then the dress and other things will also not matter. But in the beginning, initially, yes, they will matter. So try and use those dresses where you feel best, you feel top of the world. Okay, now then top 15 questions for the interviews that are generally asked, you will also prepare for those questions. Okay, now I don't know how much time is left for the class. We still have uh 20 minutes, huh? So what I'm going to do is no, 10 minutes. So there is a YouTube link here. I'm going to share it with you, and you will see this job interview. And there are so many. Okay, discard. And then, and I'm going to tell you, there are so many, uh, YouTube channels these days. They give you lot of inputs on how to give interviews. Go through them. Okay, only going through the college lectures will not be sufficient, and you will have to be very well prepared. जितना मीठा डालेंगे जितना खंड डालेंगे उतना मीठा होता है ना. So that is why, if I am going to give you this much gyan, if you add more to it, the better you will become, definitely. So I am trying to basically motivate you to see even more videos. सिर्फ मेरे बोलने से नहीं होगा. ठीक है, now I'm copying this, and okay, now there is one. uh, YouTube पे मैंने, अच्छा 1 second, here's the meeting. Let me see if it is already there. Ha, it's already there. Now I'm going to share this video I've taken from the YouTube. Tell me about yourself. Okay, it's hardly a 10 minutes video, and after that, I think our class will also get over. Okay. Okay, so here we go, and it's a very nice video, huh? And please, in case it is not audible, let me know so that I can mute myself. And you also tell me, don't write in the chat box that it's not audible.
Interview question the right way so that you can stand out in front of hiring managers and ideally land more job offers. Now, before we begin, there are a couple of ground rules that you need to know before you can develop the perfect answer to this question. Rule number 1, do not talk about your personal or family life. When someone asks you, tell me about yourself, they're not actually asking you to tell them about your personal life choices and the mistakes that you've learned from and how you got here as a human being. They're not actually asking you to tell them about yourself. They're actually asking you to tell them about your qualifications, your experiences, as well as why you're a good fit for this role. That's it. They just want to know about your professional background and experience in a nutshell. Rule number 2, do tell a story. Even though I said you shouldn't be telling them your life story, you do want to tell them your professional work story. I'll get into details about this a little later, but essentially a good professional work story means that it needs to be engaging, compelling, clear, and complete. So now that we've got the ground rules out of the way, let's move on to our 4 major tips on how to answer the tell me about yourself interview question. Okay, so let's start off with tip number 1. Tip number 1 is to give a snapshot of your work history. So what this means is you're going to go back in time to the earliest professional job that you've ever held, and you're going to start your story from there. So you're essentially going to describe what company you worked at, what the title was that you held when you were in that position, how long you stayed in that position for, and most importantly, what were your major responsibilities in that position. So for example, let's just say that you started off your career 5 years ago as a financial analyst. Okay, let's just make this up. Let's just use another accounting example. You started off your career as a financial analyst 5 years ago, and then you moved up to senior financial analyst, and now you're a finance manager. When you tell your story, you're going to start with your role as a financial analyst. And you're going to say something along the lines of, I started off my career as a financial analyst 5 years ago with XYZ Company, where I performed full cycle accounting duties, month-end close procedures, and assisted with budgeting and forecasting on a monthly basis. So now you're going to do that for each and every one of your positions. You're essentially telling mini work snapshots for every position that you've held up to the current position that you're holding right now. Tip number 2, make your mini stories achievement oriented. So after you've told the employer about the company that you were at, the title that you held, the number of years you were there for, and the major responsibilities that you had in that position, you're then going to also describe one major accomplishment that you were able to achieve in that role. So I explained a lot about what accomplishments were in my previous video, Resume Hacks, How to Make a Resume Stand Out, which is in the link below. But at the same time, I'll explain it here. An accomplishment is any time where you have saved time, saved money, improved processes, improved profitability. I mean, anything where you've done something that has created a quantifiable, ideally quantifiable result for your company or your department. So to add on to our example, you would say, in that role, a major accomplishment I'm most proud of was that I was able to reduce the time spent on month-end procedures by developing an Excel model which automated a major accounting process. This resulted in a time savings of approximately 1 day per month. So you'll do both this tip number 2 and tip number 1 in conjunction with each other for every single position that you've held. Now on to tip number 3. Tell the employer what you know about this role. Once you've gone through your entire story and you've told the employer about your major roles as well as the accomplishments that you've achieved, it's now time to acknowledge to the employer what you know they need for this particular position that they're hiring for. So to continue on our example, you'll then say, I understand that for this position of finance manager that you're hiring for, you're looking for someone with strong process improvement skills. The reason why this is so important and that so many people don't do this is because what it does psychologically is that it tells the employer that not only are you aware of your abilities and your achievements, but that you're also aware of his or her needs as well and what they're looking for. And when you can say something as simple as just simply acknowledging, I'm aware that, for this role you need process improvement skills and abilities, it's creating a connection with the employer. It's not you any longer just talking at them, you're talking to them. Finally, on to tip number 4. Tell the employer why you're the right fit for what they need. This is the icing on the cake. It's the cherry on top, and it's the one thing that many, many people do not even bother to say when they're answering this or many other interview questions. And that is to tell the employer to literally spoon feed them, to maybe even brainwash them into understanding why you are the one and only and perfect fit for this position. So to add on to our example, you would say something like, overall, due to my strong background and achievements in successfully identifying gaps and creating efficiencies, I am confident I'll be able to succeed in this role that you're hiring for. You need to tell the employer why you're the right fit for the job. If you don't end off with this, it's going to end off on a flat note. It's going to not be the most stellar response. It's just going to sound like everybody else's response. But in this case, you are making it very clear and specific, even without them having asked you why you're the right fit. You're literally just feeding it to them and telling them, I'm the right fit for the role, above all else. So now you know how to answer one of the toughest interview questions, but do you know if your resume stands out enough that you'll even land the interview in the first place? If not, then feel free to download a free copy of my 10 Ultimate Resume Hacks cheat sheet, which is located down below. The link is right there. Feel free to click on it, enter your email, and I will for sure send you a copy. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up.
So that was all. And I think you should do one thing. Try to take those links and try to use those PDFs, because this is a very good site I came across yesterday only. So you will also do this. Take a PDF, start making your resume. I know you are in first year, but you can start with the part-time jobs. That nothing will stop you. I think you should do with that only. Start with a part-time job. You will get confidence. By the end of third year, you will be having a good experience with you all right. So with that note, I'll end my today's session. Okay, have a wonderful day. Bye bye.
Bye.
Yes, beta. Bye 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 bye. Good day to all of you.